This punishment was given only in the German army. Any soldier who tried to run away would have heavy chains fastened to his legs, and the other end of the chain would be driven deep into a large rock. He would be given only a few bullets and a little ration. Then left there, he had been ordered to stay behind and hold back the Soviet soldiers. As the others moved forward, he picked up his sniper rifle and began loading it. But by the time he was ready to take aim, his comrades had already disappeared into the dense forest. Now his biggest task was to free himself from the chain. In panic, he raised his rifle and fired at the chain. There was a loud blast, and he screamed in sharp pain. The chain was extremely thick, completely unaffected. He had to think of another way. Searching through his bag, he found a pair of glasses. Suddenly, an idea came to him. Carefully, he removed both lenses with a small knife and pressed them together. Then he broke off a pine twig nearby and scraped out some resin with his knife. He chewed the resin to soften it and sealed the edges of the lenses with it. He inserted a small piece of wood between them and filled the gap with water. In this way, he created a simple magnifying lens. He placed some moss near the iron nail and focused the sun's rays onto it through the lens. Soon, the moss began to smolder. He quickly gathered dry twigs to strengthen the fire. When the twigs were burning, he poured cold water over the heated rock. The sudden change in temperature caused a crack to form in the stone. He tried pulling the nail, but it did not budge. Still, he did not lose hope. He repeated the process again and again. Gradually, more of the nail began to show. After some time, a large hole had formed in the rock. Just a little more effort remained. At noon, he was sitting by the rock eating canned food when he suddenly heard the sound of an engine in the distance. He immediately picked up his sniper rifle. A Soviet military truck was passing along the road. Luckily, they did not see him. He realized he could not delay any longer. His dry wood was nearly gone. If he did not escape soon, he might freeze in the cold, and his food supply was almost finished. There was only 1 cup of water left in the bucket. This was his final chance. He poured all the remaining water onto the rock. Then he grabbed his tools and tried to shake the cracked stone, but the nail was still stuck. He took the remaining bullets, removed the gunpowder, and filled a metal container with it. He placed it into the hole, covered it with a stone, and set smoldering moss on top. Then he quickly hid behind a large rock. A powerful explosion echoed, and white smoke filled the air. He rushed back to check, but the nail still had not come out. In anger, he kicked it twice, but it did not move at all. He hooked his rifle strap onto a distant rock with both hands. He lifted a stone and smashed it onto the nail. The day faded. Night fell, and he kept striking. Blisters formed on his hands. Finally, gathering all his strength, he struck again. The nail loosened slightly. He pulled with all his might and tore it free, throwing it aside. At last, he was free.